Spanish?
I don't know Spanish.
Neither do I. Go for it.
Yo quiero Taco Bell.
Hola, mi amigos, and welcome to Dem Guys podcast.
Ooh. I like that. That
was
would
good.
work.
And we are snowless today. Snow is busy doing stuff, but we got a replacement.
Summertime is finally here.
What?
Summertime is finally here.
Yeah, snow melted.
Oh no! But yeah, Snowshoe could not be with us, but we have, as our guest this week, Munchmo!
Hello, everybody.
And of course, I'm Slash, and...
I am Drewson.
And we decided we're going to try something a little bit new this week. We have... we're going to remind you of the podcast email address before we continue on. Drew, you going to spell it for Snowshoe this week?
No, that's not my job. Munchmo is the replacement.
Okay, so the podcast email address isn't written down on the notes for the show, so I have no idea what it is. So I'm going to make one up here. It is demguyspodcast@gmail.com. So that's demguyspodcast@gmail.com. See, I came up with the perfect email address right there.
That was genius.
You really did. We should have been using that all along.
Yep. Let's just hope nobody else took it.
Yeah. Well, we're going to do something a little bit new with the podcast going forward, because we noticed that every time we get to a particular section, we tend to go in more or less in alphabetical order, because that's just the way that we have our agenda all organized. So we decided that since this is a gaming podcast and, dice can be an integral part of tabletop gaming, we decided that we will use dice to determine the order that we will go in. So Drew has a D6, and he is going to roll it. And 1 to 2 will start with Drew, 3 to 4 will start with me, and 5 to 6 will start with Munchmo.
I'm actually using an app on my phone, so I just turned on the sound to see. Hopefully the microphone will pick it up as it rolls.
We are in the 21st century.
I don't think it played anything. Oh, because the sound was turned all the way down. Let's try this again.
I thought you said it was turned on.
You lied!
I turned on the sound, but it was turned down. I just had this.
Okay.
It was at 0% and muted. Then it was at 0% and not muted.
Yes.
Gotcha. I thought mute was 0%. Oh, I don't know.
I'm so confused.
These newfangled gadgets.
Alright, let's try this again. Take 2. I didn't hear that, did you?
Nope.
I didn't hear anything.
Okay, we'll just go with that number. I don't know why it's not playing sound.
Technology has failed us once again.
Yes. So it rolled a 5.
Oh, Munchmo,
5.
you get to start off then.
Oh, so I get to start off, and we're talking about games, huh?
Indeed we are. So what have you been playing lately?
Well, right now I'm playing Agrarian Skies in Minecraft.
Like right this second?
Right now. I just started playing it over the weekend, and I've been live streaming pretty much all of what I've been doing, and it's addictive. It really is. Even though all I'm doing is just constantly breaking cobble, I just don't want to stop.
It's funny. I had seen a number of Minecrackers start up with the Agrarian Skies, because it's like a almost a CTM style map, right? But in like
it's a modded skyblock.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I'd seen a number of Minecrackers started up, and I thought, maybe this is something I want to give a try. But like initially it seemed kind of grindy, so I hadn't checked out anybody's videos on it.
Very grindy.
Yeah, and then when Michael started up, he's like, he was asked Twitter, he was like, should I play Agrarian Skies? Or I think he said he got some Agrarian Skies recorded and it was going to start up soon. And I asked him, it's like, is it grindy? Because it seems like it would be grindy. And he's like, it hasn't been grindy so far, but maybe it'll get that way. And I'm hearing from you that it's a pretty grindy map.
Well, the way I'm playing it, it's extra grindy because I'm trying to save all the cool stuff for when I'm live streaming. So I'm spending time doing the grindy stuff off camera more than I need to, probably because I'm saving the cool stuff for on camera, you know?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
no, I hear that. Yeah, I did a little bit of vanilla skyblock back in the day. And
now that was grindy.
That was grindy. Yeah, that was, just cobble after cobble after cobble. But I enjoyed it to a point, but I got to the point where it was like, I get it. I get that I need to do, unconventional things to progress in this map. And now that I get it, I'm going to go play something else.
Well, I think part of the fun of this, too, is overcoming the same Minecraft challenges from the skyblock, but having, the ability to add automation and actually, work your way up a tech tree sort of thing, too.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Now, what is this, like a Feed the Beast style mod pack, or is this a custom mod pack, or what is this?
The map and the mod pack is downloadable through the FTB launcher, yeah.
Okay.
But it's actually got a quest system built in and all that sort of stuff too. So it actually gives you guidance to get you moving through the whole skyblocking and how to work through using the tools that are given to you.
Oh, okay. So you don't they give you some guidance on the mods in game as opposed to you having to tab out and consult wikis and stuff. The quests are actually
all specifically around the mod, and this is how you use this thing and that sort of stuff. So it makes it a lot easier that way.
Very cool.
Yep. Of course, I'm still playing on the Vintage Beef fan server too when I get a chance, but not in the past few days.
We were glad that you finally got on recently.
I know. I'm so sorry that it took me so long.
Yeah, we'll be getting into that a little bit later, but yeah, that had been sitting there for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have had scheduling issues and stuff, so it had fallen by the wayside because at that point I was playing Attack of the B Team.
Yeah.
I get very addicted to those.
Yeah, I can certainly vouch for how that can draw you in, because I've been playing a lot of that myself lately.
Yeah, it's fun. A lot of fun. There are just so many mods for Minecraft out there in general that's one of the reasons why it's such a big game, I think.
Mm-hmm. I also haven't done anything, although I hear that it's becoming a big modding community has grown up around Kerbal Space Program, and I haven't used any of the mods for that yet.
Yeah, I have yet to touch mods, because I'm still spending a lot of time just learning the game still. I have a hard enough time designing a craft that isn't going to explode on the launch pad.
Yeah. That's one of the main challenges to that game, for sure. I think it's one of the things that I love about Ziso's interpretation of the series, where he's like, I'm just going to design stuff that explodes on the launch pad anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I envy him for some of what he's done there with that. That is good stuff, yeah. At this point, I've hit... I don't remember what's the outermost planet? Can't remember, but I've hit everything except for that one so far, and I'm actually got a mission in Jewel right now for all the planets, and it's not going so well.
Right. Oh, I'm trying to remember. I'm going to have to look it up now because it's going to bother me. But it's like... Because there's Jewel, and then further out from that is Elu.
Yeah,
Elu
we're
talking
about
Elu.
Yeah, I think that's it. Oh, I don't think I've made it to Eve yet either, now that I think about it.
I sent a probe to Eve. I'm actually trying to... I don't know if this even works as a viable method for a manned mission to Eve and back, but what I'm attempting is I'm designing a space plane that I will launch from Kerbin as a rocket, and then I have a separate push, sort of tugboat stage that I launch separately from it. Rendezvous in Kerbin orbit. Use that other stage to push the space plane out to Eve, undock it, and then try and coast it in for a landing, space shuttle style, so that I can reserve all of its fuel for taking back off from Eve.
Theoretically, that should work.
Yeah, theoretically.
Whether or not it'll actually work.
Yeah, my finger will never stray very far from the quick save button during that mission. I can guarantee you that one.
I suggest you spend some time making sure that you got good orbits and stuff or timing for it, because I have had the worst issue with going to Jewel, because it has literally taken me hours at the highest fast forward speed to get an intercept with the planet.
Yeah.
And that's just insane.
Have you ever heard or seen the Kerbal Space Program planetary calculator website?
No.
It's a little bit cheaty, in that it helps you out with some of that stuff, but there's actually a website out there that allows you to calculate transfers. So you say, I'm starting at 100-kilometer orbit above Kerbin, and I want to go to, Jewel. Mm-hmm. And it will calculate for you, okay, you want Jewel to be, little over 90 degrees ahead of you from Kerbin, and you want to start your burn when you're, 115 degrees. I'm looking at it right now from Kerbin's prograde in your orbit around the planet.
That would be really handy. I'll have to get that link from you because I have a craft that I need to get over there to bring everyone home.
Yeah. And it's like, and it gives you ejection velocity and what your ejection burn delta V has to be. So, that doesn't help me with the building of my craft because I
still don't know the whole delta V thing myself. I just kind of throw things together and hope the engines will get them where I'm going.
Exactly. Yeah. At some point, I would love to take an approach with it. Maybe if I have to restart career mode or something where I do it full on rocket science mode, run the calculations and figure out, the masses and all that stuff just to see how well the game does at that, because apparently it's pretty good at it.
Well, when it comes to the next update, there might be good reason to start over.
Oh, yeah? What have you heard is coming?
The next update is supposed to be the one bringing in money.
Oh, right, yeah.
So that gives you a good reason to start over, because then you're like, well, I did this with, no money restraints. Now what happens when I have to actually pay for all these rockets I'm blowing up?
Yeah, because it's not like, okay, I've unlocked this, tank. I can now stack 10 of these tanks on top of each other, kind of thing. Yeah, that might be a good time to start over. Interesting.
Yeah. It's going to be tough, I say, though, because, the way I play this game, it's all about... Does it launch? Okay, good. Now, will it orbit? Okay, good. Now, what can I do with it?
I saw... This video was from a while ago, but I saw in my suggestions feed earlier today, Scott Manley did a video with an actual astronaut playing Kerbal Space Program.
Really?
Yeah, and that guy's first rocket crashed immediately on his first attempt. So, I was like, hey, if an actual astronaut, a guy that's been up on the space shuttle, that's been, to the ISS, can't construct a rocket on his first try in Kerbal Space Program, then there's hope for me yet.
Yep.
Well, Drew, did you want to give this dice app another try? We'll go evens you, odds me for the next portion.
Okay. Oh, there's the sound.
Yay!
Oh.
Hey!
So it came up with 6, so I guess that's me.
Yeah. I forgot what I said already, but go ahead.
Yeah.
That works.
So I went ahead, even though I said I was going to wait, I went ahead and bought Titanfall.
How is it?
It is incredible. I'm so glad I got it.
The only thing I agree with the people who were talking about, well, why do you have to wait to get your Titan?
Oh, you don't start with one?
Have you not played it yet?
No, I'm, is that what you mean, like at the beginning of the match?
Yeah, like why are they sending guys against robots when, there's gonna be a robot coming up for you in a minute here? I
guess because they don't want to start with utter chaos. Every single person has one. You have to earn it kind of thing.
Well, I haven't actually played it, so I'm just talking about what I don't know anything about anyway, so. Yeah,
no, I agree. It would, I was telling someone about it because they were thinking about maybe getting it. I was telling them how it works. And they're like, so when your Titan blows up, it's not like, oh, well, you just lost your really expensive piece of equipment. It's just wait a couple of minutes and we'll build a new one for you.
Nice.
It's the Kerbal Space Program approach to mechas.
Yep.
Yeah. Honestly, my favorite approach to it, because when you're a Titan pilot, Titans are not as indestructible as you might think. So my favorite approach to it is telling my Titan to just run around and do stuff on his own, and I'll just be a soldier on the ground. And I feel that I'm generally more effective that way. So.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. I've had a lot of people comment on how Titanfall and Hawken are a lot alike just because they're mechs. And I'm like, these are two totally different games.
Yeah, very different.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't played either, but I've seen gameplay from both, and I don't know how you could claim that one is anything like the other.
Yeah.
Hawken almost seemed closer to, I don't know if you've played any of the Transformers games, but like Transformers War for Cybertron, that had a pretty fun multiplayer, and that Hawken seemed closer to that. Titanfall is very like Call of Duty Battlefield-esque.
Well, Hawken originally started off a lot harder than it is now because they've done a lot of tweaking here and there when it comes to the game, and they've made it a lot more like Call of Duty and stuff with the really quick kills and that sort of thing, as opposed to more beating on the other mechs and hoping they'll die sort of thing. So.
Okay. Interesting. I did not
It's
know
a lot
that.
more fast-paced than it used to be. They did a real big change in the game when they opened it up to Steam, because they figured that the Steam audience probably wouldn't be as interested in a game that was, a lot harder to kill players, so they lowered the time to kill by reducing armor and increasing damage output and stuff like that.
Okay.
Oh, I see. Probably a good move from a business perspective.
Yeah. So I was just going to say, one of my favorite things about Titanfall is, last time on the podcast, I talked about, putting, or switching the characters from Mirror's Edge and Halo. So that way you could parkour around some of the Halo environments, and then Master Chief could just mow through the Mirror's Edge stuff, like the enemies. Right. He wouldn't even have to do any parkour. He'd just take down all the enemies. But, Titanfall has some really, really fun parkour. Cause it is a first person shooter, but you can wall run. And I just discovered the other day that you can also, mid wall run, you can stop and just grab onto the wall and hang there and shoot people. So that's
pretty cool.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty cool.
Just like, I would literally just go into one of those maps and just like wall run around as much as possible. It's really fun jumping from rooftop to rooftop, killing a couple enemies along the way. And then, one thing that I found interesting, I don't know that I'll say I'll dislike it, because it is a multiplayer centered game. It really doesn't have it doesn't have a single player mode at all. There's no offline mode of it. There is a so-called story or a campaign, but it's still, you're matching people, like it's just a matchmaking 6v6, just like the other things. But all it is basically while you're playing the mission, there's people talking over the radios kind of saying, here's what your objective is, here's why we're here fighting this water. But so the campaign doesn't have a set story you can win or lose every single mission.
Well, that's different.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. Basically the only reason to play the campaign, other than, I guess you do get a little bit of a story, but really the only reason to play the campaign is, there's two sides to it. You play through first as the militia, and then you play again as the IMC, and those are just the two different teams in the game. Basically when you beat one, you unlock, you can customize your Titans, and there are different, variants. So the base one you have is just sort of a medium armor, medium speed one. Then there's a fast but light armor one, and then there's a heavy armor slow one. So, yeah.
That's cool. Okay, cool. I think I might need to check out more about Titanfall, because I haven't really looked into it that much, but it sounds really interesting.
Yeah, it's extremely fun. And as far as the gameplay goes, I'd mentioned that I played Titanfall at PAX on an Xbox One. As far as the gameplay goes on 360, gameplay seems exactly the same. The only difference I've noticed is just the graphics aren't as good. But I don't have an HD TV. So it might just be my TV. It might not even be the 360. So.
Yeah, I would think that not having an HD TV would definitely lower the video quality.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm no expert.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, maybe.
So I played some PlayMindcrack. It took me a really, really long time to do it, but I finally actually recorded some and posted it on my channel.
Good.
And,
yeah, I was just watching that today, actually.
Okay, well, I was gonna say, I don't know how much of that I'm gonna do, cause I don't know, while we're recording this, it's been, like, maybe 3 days since I posted it, and it has, like, 3 views. So, I don't know if that's something I'm really gonna continue.
I've recorded PlayMindcrack kind of as a filler before, and it works for that, but I don't think that people really like watching it necessarily as much as if you were, like, doing normal Minecraft videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the thing with PlayMindcrack in general is, solo PMC videos, I don't think have much of a draw. I think if you get a group of people together, that can be interesting, because then you've got the interplay and the banter and stuff that goes back and forth among the folks that are playing, which is, why whenever we did Dwarves vs. Zombies together, I thought that worked out pretty well as content.
Yeah.
And like I used to do it as a more regular feature, cause it was, pretty easy to hop on and get, a 15-minute episode of it going. But it's samey, I mean, you're going on, there's only a handful. I have to chuckle at it because they have all these games on there, but I'm not a patron. I don't have the extra money to spend to get access to the patron stuff. So I can't do Power Juice, right? So that's out. That's a game that I'd like to play, but it's not something that I can spend money on right now.
Same here.
And then, there's survival games, and every server, that has games on it in Minecraft has a survival games version. Minecraft is unique in that you get to play on some of the maps that, you've seen in their videos, which is very cool. But it is ultimately the same thing over and over again. You try and gear up, you try and, kill other people without getting killed.
Yeah.
And Dwarves vs. Zombies can be a lot of fun, but again, it's this, there's only a handful of maps for that, and it's the same sort of concept each time as well. And then you have games, and this is what made me chuckle, you have games like Barnyard Blitz and King of the Golden Monocle, which, the times that I have popped into those lobbies just to see what's going on, I don't think anybody plays them anymore. There's just nobody in those games these days.
Well, there's nobody really on the server a lot of times, too, it seems.
Yeah, it seems like it's a fairly diehard, set of people that are on there just all the time. Mm-hmm. And the other folks that have, have kind of burnt down on it a little bit. So, now I did see, I popped on there briefly this afternoon, and I did see that there's a new survival games mode, called Team Bloodbath.
Really?
It's like everybody is in B-Dub's arena, and there's like 4 teams, and last team standing wins.
I will have to check that out.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's something that's been out, for a little while, or whether it's even been properly announced or what, but I was actually shocked by it the first time I went out, and it's like, why are they spawning me right next to all of these other people, and why are we all in the arena? It wasn't until halfway through that map that I realized that I was playing in a team. Whoops. Yeah. Sorry, the doctor just showed up in my...
Doctor, I need your help! I think you're lying to me.
I changed, my phone used to have Minecraft-related sounds on it, and earlier today I changed it over to Doctor Who-related stuff. So when I get a text message, it sounds like the TARDIS is landing.
So, I played... Well, I think I've mentioned before that Xbox Live has a thing that if you're a gold member on Xbox Live, meaning a paying member, that every month they put up 2 games that you can download for free. And, the first half of this month was Dust: An Elysian Tale, which actually, when the podcast comes out, there will be 1 or 2 days left to go download that if you have Xbox Live and you haven't done that yet. But I had heard of the game and knew nothing about it, and so I downloaded it, and it's actually really fun and has an interesting story. It's like a side-scroller adventure type thing, but it has a lot of really fun combos. It's like a sword game, and it does feel like a button masher. Like, basically you walk into waves of enemies and you just destroy everything.
Mutilate them.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it has an interesting story, and it's more of an open world thing than I realized at first. 'Cause there's like side quests and you can go back and unlock new things. I'm not too far in it, but the one thing I did see was there is an Easter egg with there's a cage that you find like deep in a cave, and if you unlock the cage, Super Meat Boy is in there. So, yeah, I just thought that was interesting.
Gotta love those Easter eggs.
And then in the last podcast, we talked about Rust, and just a couple days later, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and download it. So I downloaded it, tried it out, haven't played it very much, but it seems pretty fun. I actually logged on, at first, just to try it out, I logged on to a server where there was no one else on, because I didn't want people coming along and killing me while I was trying to figure out the controls. But,
right.
I figured out how things work okay. Basically, the main thing I have a problem with, because I haven't been playing very long, I don't know the map, and so I don't know where to find provisions, and so I died through starvation several times.
That's the game where you start out naked with a rock, right?
Yep.
I've had days like that.
Yeah, those are what we call good days here.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get better at it, and I would love to get other people to play, because it's definitely one of those games where if you have friends, it makes you strong. Like, if you play on a server with other people, and you come across one guy by themselves, I joined another server where there were a few people on, and I came across, like, this massive fortress, and I could hear people using the voice chat in the game, and they were talking to each other, and I'm like, there's no way like I could ever take them on, because they're obviously well equipped, and there's like 3 of them. So
yeah,
interesting. Yeah, that was a game that I had seen some, and I sort of interested in it, but I wasn't sure because I always heard such bad things about games like that and DayZ, and how there's no real community and people just murder you for no reason. So that's the only thing that scares me.
That's actually, honestly, the reason I wanted to play. I looked at DayZ a while ago, and I didn't end up getting that. But this actually interests me more because it's not zombies. It's literally just a straight up survival. And like, I want to eventually get to the point where I can play on a server that's full of people, and I'll log out not knowing if my base will be destroyed when I log back in. But I think that would be pretty fun.
Does it have any sort of like enemies in the game other than the players?
You can come across wolves and bears. That's
okay.
Like the only other thing that will like attack you. Actually, I heard a really cool idea, which I don't know that it would ever really work, but the reason I really found out about Rust was from Pause and Rob playing it. Old Man Willikers.
Right. Tuna Bandits.
Yeah. And I love those videos. But anyway, they were talking about maybe sometime trying to get a bunch of people who really knew the game well, how the game works and the map and everything, and do like an ultra hardcore style where like everyone spawns in and it's just, if you die, you're done, and last man standing wins. That could be very cool.
That could be very interesting. Now, is this like running off of company-run servers, or can you have private servers, or what?
You can, yeah, there are official servers, and then there are just like people can set up their own servers, and yeah, it's like Minecraft in that way. Well, I guess Minecraft doesn't really have official servers that you can just join.
Oh, they're the realms. I mean, they're not exactly official servers. I don't even, what are realms? Do we even know yet?
Yeah, realms is like, I want to play multiplayer with a handful of friends, and I don't have the bandwidth to run the server on my home network, so I'll just pay Mojang to do it. And gotcha, so they fire up a very low capacity, I think it's like a 10-player cap or something like that, server, and I think there's some interface for basically like, I'm joining, Munchmo's Realm server, and you don't have to know IP addresses or anything, it just, shows up there. I guess the owner sends an invite to other players by name, and then they join into the realm. So, yeah, it's for very casual multiplayer where it's you're outside of the local LAN, so you're not just doing an open to LAN game, but you're not so much trying to host a full-fledged server on the network on the internet. So
that makes sense.
Yeah. on a D6 roll result of 1 through 6, it will be my turn next. Yeah, and it's my turn.
Do you want me to roll?
No.
But then it's not your turn.
You can roll if you want to. But I don't think we need to wait for that result. So the major game news for me since the last podcast episode was I had been talking about these mysterious signs that kept showing up around my base with a scrambled message on them and no attribution. Well, that finally all came to a head, and it happened to be the timing worked out that I was able to record my reaction to it as my 50th Vintage Beef fan server episode, so I was very happy about the synchronicity of that. But turns out, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the episode, the perpetrator was none other than Caleb West. And he told me he was placing these signs out in front of my base to just sort of be a fun thing to do to bide his time until he could build the actual prank, which was he constructed a massive the moon from Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, the one that's got the face that's crashing down on the clock tower. It's going to consume everything. He constructed a massive version of that hovering right by the tower of my base, and he put a clock tower hand on that tower, and then inside of this moon, which looked awesome from the outside, but as I'm inspecting it, I'm like, wait, I think I can go in here. You can go in through the mouth, and on the inside, he did a recreation of the scene. If you've ever played the game, at the end, you actually transport up to the moon, and you're in this big sort of idyllic field, and there's this one tree in the middle that's got the Majora incarnation is sitting under this tree. And he recreated that scene in the inside of the moon, and it was just absolutely fantastic. He said he did it in 2 6-hour shifts, which I believe, because the thing is just massive. The amount of time just placing blocks was insane. So I was really honestly quite honored that he would take that amount of time to perpetrate that prank on me, because it was very, very well executed. If you haven't seen it, you got to check it out, because it's definitely worth a look. And then he goes off to Italy for 2 weeks afterwards, so he doesn't even have
time to get him back.
Well, that's true. But yeah, he doesn't even have his setup video recorded yet, or finished recorded. He's recorded some stuff for it, but he hasn't finalized that yet, I don't think. So he doesn't even have a setup on his channel for it. But very, just amazing. I was just really impressed.
Yeah, that was really cool. And my guess is he put so much effort into it because he's been calling himself unprankable for so long, and then you pranked him.
I did. I pranked him quite well. Yeah, he was... When he found all of those flower pots scattered throughout his base, he was not too pleased with that result.
Yeah.
I was rather happy to be able to put his beloved clay to a completely irrelevant use. Yeah. So that was pretty good. I'll just briefly run through. I've done some Attack of the B Team. I have a space station created, and I've just been building that out to make that my main base on the little server that I'm playing on. And that's been going pretty well. Getting slightly back into Starbound, making a little bit of progress towards getting to that fourth sector. And I have part of an episode recorded for that. Don't know when the rest of it will get recorded and up, but that series is continuing slowly, at least for the foreseeable future. Possibly once I get into the final sector and there's not a whole lot to do other than, once I've essentially hit the current end game, that series will probably go on hiatus unless a cool update comes out. I mentioned Kerbal Space Program earlier, trying to get to Eve with a space plane. I also intend to, I think the next episode that I recorded, I'm actually going to try that asteroid redirect technology that they've got in there, where you can latch
tough.
on. Is it?
Yeah, it's tough.
It's pretty insane. I have 3 asteroids that I'm tracking currently, and there's a Class A, which is the smallest one, that in game time has a Kerbal encounter in about 10 days, I think. And that's the one I'm going to try to go for, because that one that actually comes within Mun's orbit.
Oh, wow.
So I think I've got my best chance of capturing that asteroid as compared to any other asteroid in the system at this point. So we'll see how that goes. And then the space plane landing and taking off from Eve, that's going to be, I think, even more harrowing than capturing the asteroid, because that I don't have a whole lot of confidence in the designs that I've built. I know that they get up, they get into orbit. I know I'm very confident in my ability to get the space plane to Eve. I'm concerned about my ability to glide it to a landing. I'm not sure how well it glides. Very well when it's mostly empty, but when I've tried gliding it in my test flights full of fuel, I have not been able to glide it. I've always had to do powered landings, and if I burn that fuel doing a powered landing, I'm concerned I won't be able to get back off of Eve when I take off.
Just add more wings.
Yeah, I'm thinking
lift.
That's probably what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to add wings to it. And then I was playing the Battle for Westnoth, which is an open source turn-based strategy game with a hex grid set in like a medieval, vaguely Lord of the Rings-ish style, fantasy realm. And I had taken a break from that for a while. I succeeded on the first of I think it's 7 scenarios in this campaign someone suggested I look at. And I recently embarked upon the second scenario, so hopefully I'll have a video up with that content pretty soon on my channel. But that's it. That's all I've been playing lately.
Okay.
That's a lot.
That's a lot, yeah. A little bit of time here and there on some of them.
Yeah. So, are we gonna roll again for news?
Sure, let's do it. I'm feeling lucky.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so what is it again?
1, 2 is you, 3, 4 is Munchmo, 4, 5, 6 is me.
Okay.
We'll do it for that way for this one.
Okay, it is a 1.
All right, Drew, you get to start anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I actually added my news item last, but here we go. So apparently, EA is shutting down a bunch of their online services for a lot of their older games. This is going to be happening at the end of June, and we have a link with a bunch of like the list of games. So basically, they said they didn't really want to do this because there are still people playing some of these games, but it's just such a minimal number, and it's kind of costing a lot to keep them up and running.
Mm-hmm.
And so just a few of the games that are not going to have online services still continued are Battlefield 1942 for PC.
World Series of Yahtzee.
I know, I was so distraught when I looked that up.
No!
Why how do they think they can get away with this?
Crisis.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a crisis. The World Series
really
of
is.
Yahtzee.
I think honestly, even though it's older, I think honestly one of
Star Wars.
one of the bigger ones, Star Wars Battlefront and Battlefront 2 for both PC and PlayStation 2. And those definitely have a pretty loyal community. I mean, the original Battlefront, I don't really play online. I mostly just played against bots and stuff, but that probably is my favorite video game of all time. So, and yeah, there's a bunch of other ones. Like I said, we'll probably...
there are a lot of games here.
Yeah.
Surprised that the new SimCity isn't on the list. After the fiasco that came of that.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was just pretty much, I thought I would share that because there are a few kind of iconic video games in here.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know,
there's even NHL 11 Ultimate, which I guess is 2011's version. It's only 3 years old. They're shutting down the servers for it.
Right. Well, some of them they were saying are old. Some of them they were saying are more just not popular.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know what? Neverwinter Nights, though, 1 and 2. I'm surprised at those. So
Yeah,
they would still have a pretty big community behind them.
Yeah, those ones were some of the ones that they said there's still decent sized groups playing. I forget which game it was. I think it was actually Battlefront 2. There's some other outside group that said they have been running servers, like allowing people to play Battlefront 2 for a while, and they've done some tests to like sort of remove the effects that whatever EA support is doing for it, and they did some tests, and they're going to be able to continue running Battlefront 2 servers, I assume for PC.
That's
interesting.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd think that any of these games that have a lot of following would probably find a way to work around it.
Yeah, and EA has said that they want to try to get if they can get community involvement on keeping these games running in a way, but they're just not able to do it themselves.
Yeah, I don't know. Every time EA shows up in the news, it's not good news.
It's
Yeah.
bad.
they never have like, you know, a wondrous announcement from EA. We've got this title coming up that everybody is going to love. It's always like EA's messing people up again. SimCity doesn't work. We're shutting down a bunch of games you guys like. It's like at some point somebody's gonna, you know, call for an angry mob with pitchforks and torches to march upon their headquarters and speak their mind.
At least a couple of years in a row, EA was on the top of consumerists' worst company in America.
Yeah.
I believe it. I couldn't tell you the last time I heard anything good from EA.
A big part of the problem is EA Origin, which we're not going to get into right now, but yeah.
Yeah, horrible service. Oh wait, you said we weren't going to get into it. Never mind. I didn't say anything.
All right, Munchmo, you want evens or odds?
I'm odd.
Yes, but on the die roll,
I'll take odds.
Okay.
All right. And we have a 2, so it's
All right. My two are just quick, brief ones. It was announced, about a week and a half ago, I think at this point, that they have cast a number of people for Star Wars Episode 7. And the cast list looked pretty good. The name that jumped down at me most prominently on that list, however, was Andy Serkis, Smeagol/Gollum fame. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of life he brings to the next iteration of the Star Wars franchise.
Yeah.
I don't know that I recognized any of the other names off the top of my head. I think they're
what about
like
Harrison
people
Ford?
that are known but not well known.
And who else was there?
Yeah, they had people coming back: Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, Anthony Daniels, Kenny Baker.
That's true.
What?
I'm just messing.
What has Mark Hamill ever done?
Big names. Lots of big names.
I was just saying the people who were coming back that I recognize.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I've also heard of, I don't know what I know the name from, but I'm not sure how you even say it, but Max von Sydow, something like that.
I don't know.
He's apparently joining, and I've heard that name before anyway.
Yeah, I didn't recognize any of the people who weren't like original cast, so.
Yeah, other than Andy Serkis, there was nobody that I recognized from the list of newbies. But it should be interesting. I'm cautiously optimistic about this. I mean, some people have expressed some cynicism about the fact that, oh man, it belongs to Disney now, and Princess Leia's a Disney princess, and all of this hilarious stuff. But I'm hard pressed to find something in recent times, at least, that Disney has not done well. So,
well, we know all the kids are all gaga over Frozen, so.
This is true.
And I think a lot of adults are as well.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
Are you? I don't know the first thing about Frozen.
I thought it was pretty good.
It's a good movie. Yeah, I mean, I have young kids, so I mean, my daughter, she's 3.5, and she is singing all of the songs from that
Maybe
movie
I should
all the
make
time.
my 15-year-old son watch Frozen.
Mm-hmm.
He'll like it, right?
I think so.
Yeah, probably he would actually.
It's a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm looking forward to see what Disney has in store for Star Wars. I mean, I was a big fan of some of the expanded universe stuff that was written in the novels that followed on, and I had mixed emotions about the fact that they decided that they weren't going to pursue any of that was being declared not canon moving forward. On the one hand, there's some really great stories there that I would have loved to have seen on the big screen, and if they're not going to use that material, then that's just not going to happen. But on the other hand, there's some really crummy stories in the expanded universe that all count as canon because of the way that worked out.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So I'm not sad to see those go by.
And honestly, I think that Disney cannot do anything worse to Star Wars than George Lucas already did with the Clone Wars cartoon.
I have heard good things about that.
It's not something I follow, but other people that I know that do follow it have spoken highly of the Clone Wars cartoon. But
the main thing, my favorite part of all of the Star Wars expanded universe was the whole Mandalorian culture. I was very, very big into that, and George Lucas basically declared none of that exists, and the Clone Wars are now pacifists, the Mandalorians are pacifists, and it doesn't make sense, and I hate it.
I gotcha. I'm with you now, with that, yeah.
And also, apparently, Darth Maul didn't die; he just came back with robotic legs or something.
Of course, he did.
So, yeah.
Nobody ever dies forever. What are you talking about?
I mean, the only other thing that, on a completely different topic that it caught me off guard the other day. I was doing some maintenance on my channel, and I noticed that there's now an option for ordering the videos in playlists. Like, it was used to be that, put a video in a playlist and you had to pick what where it fell in that playlist. But now you can actually order by upload date, by publish date, and you can manually order it as well. So that's pretty cool, and I think that makes managing playlists a little bit easier for the most part. My only concern is if I have a series playlist, ordered by publish date, oldest to newest, and maybe I get a screwy content ID claim that I'm like, I'll just re-upload this without that track or whatever.
Yeah.
Can I still manage to keep that playlist sorted by publish date and set like a retroactive publish date for the video so that it still shows up in order, or is it going to end up putting the episode out of order with the rest of them? And so far I haven't run into a need to do that, so I don't know what the answer to that is, but that's my only concern with it. Otherwise, I'm pretty excited about that finally being a feature.
Yeah.
I think that is just a one-time order, isn't it? Or does it actually order the entire playlist?
It actually sets that as the playlist order. So if I then add multiple videos to that playlist afterwards, it will add them where they should be in the proper order.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
That is definitely news to me.
Yeah, I just stumbled upon it. I was like, I'm going to go in and make sure that I have because one of the things that I had stumbled upon also was the fact that you can specify a playlist as being a series playlist, which I had been wondering how certain channels were having, there's like, the next video in this series is this. And I'm like, well, how do you set that up? I want to set that up. That seems like it's a really good thing to do for your content.
Yeah.
And apparently that's how you do it. You check that box. And I was in there making sure that I had that box checked for a series that I didn't upload to very frequently. And I found this sorting option in there, and I was like, oh, when did they add this? This was a stealth update, too. Well, we're talking about YouTube. I don't know what updates aren't stealth updates.
I was going to say, everything is stealth with YouTube, isn't it?
Yeah. So, yeah, I just thought that was pretty cool.
That is definitely good to know. I'll have to keep that in mind. I always forget to put things in playlists. I'm really bad about that.
It's like a monthly thing, I think. Like, I go in, oh man, I haven't put a video in a playlist for the last month.
Well, I like the fact that now when you upload, you have the option immediately to add things to playlists. Mm-hmm. That makes it a little easier.
Yeah, that's nice.
But, I mean, even then I sometimes forget to add things to playlists.
And sometimes that button just doesn't work. It's the typical hit or miss of YouTube interface.
Mm-hmm.
That is very true.
All right, Munchmo, what's this Fullscreen?
Fullscreen is a YouTube partner network, one of the MCNs that you hear about all the time, and how they're bad news and stuff.
Right.
Obviously, because Fullscreen is actually the partner network that I'm with, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. But the article that I picked was because I saw it on TV today while I was at work, and they were talking about how Fullscreen is being courted by Time Warner, so that I guess they can get their foot in the door with all the kids, what's all the rave these days, with YouTube.
Interesting.
And, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, to be honest with you.
I would suspect that it's a good thing for the general acceptance of internet media by larger name companies. Because, I mean, that's still, internet produced media is still a thing that, a lot of companies and a lot of producers don't take seriously.
Yeah.
They still think of it as, it's somewhere where what they've gotten to at this point, like for a while it was like, whatever, the internet doesn't matter. And what they're at this point seems to be that, okay, the internet is another way that we can put our TV shows out there, and run ads on our TV shows. I don't think a lot of these bigger companies are considering the fact that you can have a completely different production methodology and focus and, like the entire tone of internet media can be different than broadcast media.
Yeah.
Just by the nature of the fact that it's all on demand, there's no, there's the concept of live streaming, but generally you're talking about, so you go and you find the video you want to watch and you watch it at that time. You don't have to tune in at a particular time or remember to DVR it or whatever. So I think it's good for that, for raising awareness in that sector of the business of what can be done with internet media. But Time Warner's not a good thing in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the fact that they're going after an MCN too and not doing something different when it comes to the YouTube arena kind of makes you wonder what their plan is going to be too.
It feels like maybe some hotshot, up-and-coming executive at Time Warner said, hey, my nephew watches videos on YouTube, you know, of people with these partner networks. We should get in on that. And it went up the chain of people that have no idea what the heck that means, and nobody said no by the time it got up to the top, and so they got involved.
It's possible, because, I mean, there is money to be made there, but at the same time, it's like, they're a broadcast company, and partner networks aren't about broadcasting so much as it's about serving ads and helping, you know, the actual partners do what they're supposed to do, and, you know, get their content out there and seen. So, yeah, I just found it to be really interesting an idea. I personally don't like the idea. I think it's probably not going to work out well for anyone if it happens. No,
probably not. But I mean, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Hopefully if it is bad, it's not ridiculously bad. It's just a nuisance bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think right now, mostly because this is the point that we've reached on our agenda, but also because it's right now is a perfect time, given that it's the three of us that are together, to talk about the membership zoo that we have created for you on the Vintage Beef fan server.
I am not...
Membership zoo? I don't know what you're talking about. Just kidding.
I believe you. Okay, we had this... We perpetrated this prank.
Hey.
What?
I did. I invited you. But...
You invited me, and I assisted in the perpetration of the prank.
Okay.
Therefore, we perpetrated the prank. But yes, credit where credit's due. This was entirely Drew's idea. In terms
so I can blame him. Okay.
Yeah.
I know who to go after.
Yeah,
next.
he's the one. He's the one that you do the revenge on. I was coerced actually. I was under
don't worry, I'll get
duress.
you both back.
Yeah. But no, it was a really cool concept Drew came up with, and for anybody listening that hasn't seen it, Drew decided that it would be fun to.
Do you want me
basically
to
take a whole? You can tell it. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so basically, I've been watching Munchmo's videos on the server, and except for the one video that you posted right before we did the prank, every single one of your videos, from the very beginning, you just went off by yourself, away from everyone else. And just...
Well, there was nobody ever online.
And just started doing essentially a single player LP. It just happened to be on a server. Was the way I saw it. And I was like, this is kind of boring. There's no interaction at all. And I understand there are plenty of times when there's no one online. But I mean, I usually try to plan stuff with people over Skype or whatever. So, anyway, my idea was... hey, let's just give Munchmo a little reminder of the fact that there's other people on the server. Let's bring everybody to him. So, at some point, I messaged pretty much every active member, on the server that I could think of that I also had, added on Skype. I messaged all of them and said, if you were to be represented by a friendly mob in the game, which one would you want to be? And that's how I started. And I came up with this list of names. I figured out, how many name tags I needed and how much XP I would need to go grind at the Ender Farm, which that didn't take long. Especially once they switched name tags to only be 1 level rather than 5.
Right, that was good timing on that one.
You just had to spend a lot of time fishing? Is that how you got your name tags?
No, I asked around. I said, hey, I only have 7 name tags. Is there anyone who has an excess that's willing to lend me 1 or 2? And Baker's like, I've got some. You can take as many as you like. I'm like, well, I don't want to take all your name tags. I went over there. Baker has 2 stacks of name tags.
Wow.
And they stacked at 64, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
She's got one of those automatic fishing holes set up. There was a period of time.
She just AFKs there.
Yeah, when the whole fishing could get you different rewards and you could enchant the fishing rods. When that first came out, it was almost immediately somebody came up with, here's a ability to just stand still and fish all day without even being at the computer. So Baker was logged in for months straight in this little AFK fishing hole, just collecting loot and XP from fishing without even having to actually be there.
Well, if you haven't been to Baker's Bay, she has a massive farm and every single one of the animals has a name. So
I'm going to have to do a proper tour of the server soon.
I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yes, that would be pretty cool. I'll have to start with you guys' place too, so that I know where to go to.
Yeah. So
nothing. Never mind.
To do the tour.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's
by,
it.
In case you need a cup of sugar. Or
Yeah,
I guess a
yeah.
stack of sugar is how you'd borrow sugar from a neighbor in Minecraft.
Can I have a triangle of sugar, please?
So the way this prank played out was back at the beginning of April. Well, I got on, and I don't remember when I asked you to join in, Slash.
You had brought it up to me a good couple of weeks before it actually went down. You were like, if I'm planning on doing it on such and such a day, if you're available, I'd appreciate it if you could help me out. And it happened to that I was available that morning.
And I'm glad you did, because first of all, anyone listening, if you haven't watched it or you've only watched one perspective, you should watch both mine and Slash's perspective. We have very different perspectives, because while I'm building the cages, or not cages, homes for the animals, and doing random other stuff, Slash is trying to get a squid into a tank.
Oh, what a nightmare.
Wonderful job.
And it seems that leads are now broken on squids, so it was all just pure body against body.
Yeah, just bumping.
That sounds sexy.
it was Steve on squid action trying to get these things to move into the right place. I don't know when it broke, because I've seen Beef, back when he had his squid service before the transparency broke. He was dragging squid around on a lead, no problem. And so I didn't expect there to be an issue moving squid, but apparently on the current snapshots, at least, you can hook a squid to a lead and move a mile away, and that squid will still be attached to the lead and not move anywhere.
That's amazing that the lead doesn't break, though.
Because I don't think the game properly... I think it visually acknowledges that a lead has been attached, but then does no further processing of lead logic in the code. It's like, you have attached the lead, I will now ignore that fact forever.
At one point, because you were trying to get it to come up, and there was water source blocks pushing down. The squid was at the bottom of the tank, which was 20 blocks deep at the time?
Yeah, something like that.
And then you got on top of the tank and did a full stack of cobble, and it didn't affect the squid at all.
Yeah.
That was...
Yeah, I was pulling that squid from like Drew said, it had to been 80, 90 blocks up, and it did not affect it at all. It was like, no, I'm just going to swim down, that's fine. I'm going to go wherever. So that was Fallen Angel is the one that wanted the squid named after him. We go through all that trouble, and we've named the squid after Fallen Angel, and then we close up the ice tank, and we realize you can't see the name tag through the ice blocks anyway.
Yeah.
So that's why we put a regular sign on the side of it, because we're like, you're not going to be able to see the name tag on the squid.
The other thing that we should mention about that is before we got the squid for him, I had asked him what mob he wanted to be, and I forget, he might have said friendly zombie, or he might have said zombie pigmen, and I had said, that's kind of complicated, I don't really want to try to get one through and everything, and the next thing he said was he wanted a bat. I'm like, there is no way I don't know if you can use a lead on them or not. I don't know if you can put a name tag on them or not, but there is no way that I am getting a bat into some kind of cage where you can still see it and everything. I'm like, that's just too much effort. I am not doing that for you.
That would have been insane trying to write, because we would have had to have found it in a cave somewhere nearby and to try and route it, because I'm pretty sure a lead does not attach to a bat. And I'm not convinced that a name tag even works on it either. I think Generic B had tried that at one point, name tagging a bat. And I don't know if he tried to name tag it or if he was just trying to determine whether it was a persistent mob. And it turned out not to be persistent. But you might be able to throw a name tag on it. That I don't know. But I'm pretty sure a lead does not attach to a bat.
Well, if it does, it'll probably be just like the squid. It won't care.
It would just ignore it. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So we had a pretty good time with that. You'll see, you kind of get some interesting perspectives of it. But basically, at one point during the prank, we were going to have one horse. And on my way over, I rode right into a lava pool. And that was a terrible, terrible moment. And I'm like, I don't even want to continue. But
that was pretty impressive. I love the way it ended up cutting together in your video, because you had been doing the transport off camera, and you fall into the lava pool, and you just log out, like, immediately. And you're like, I fell in lava. I'm going to have to record when I log back in.
Yeah.
So he starts recording, and he sits there on the title screen for like 1 or 2 full minutes, just like not wanting to log back in.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to be horrendous. Yeah, it made for great video.
Yeah.
And yet somehow you ended up with 2 horses.
Yeah, so I didn't end up putting this part in because I was having some issues, but I actually went and captured originally I was using a horse that we had that just wasn't named or anything. I went and captured a new horse and then rode it all the way over there. And this time I used a fire resist potion on myself and the horse, like a splash potion. So if we fell in, we'd be fine. But
yeah, we finally have the success on that. And Drew, who had been having internet connectivity issues throughout the entire prank, he goes and he rides the horse into its stable, and he gets off the horse. And I can see this in my perspective. I see him dismount the horse, and then almost immediately he gets kicked off the server with one of those cryptic error messages.
Well, I told you I was gone, but you could still see me.
That's right. You said your client had disconnected, but your avatar was still in game.
Yeah.
And so then you reconnect, and you spawn back in on the horse. Now there were 2 horses, because I guess the server thought it had disconnected you while you were mounted, or maybe the client registered you as still mounted. So whenever you reconnected, the client said, and he's on a horse. And the server said, okay, I'll spawn the horse in with him. And we were like, now there's a copy of this horse. And I don't know how we managed to do this, but there it is.
It was quite impressive.
Well, because when he first logs on, there's 2 horses and there's 2 Drews. You know? and
then the fake version of me got off the horse and logged out.
And so Drew's like, okay, I'm going to get off of this horse. And we just sort of stood there and stared at them for a little bit. And it was like,
they're still
these
there.
are both horses. They both exist.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, it is up to you what to do with the duped horse.
Oh, he's going to stay where he is. He's got a name and everything, so he's sticking around.
There you go.
But yeah,
it was a lot of fun to set up.
So yeah, Munchmo, I have to say, I was very pleased with your reaction to my prank. I wasn't sure what it was going to be, but I was worried, especially after all that time, and also you had posted some videos going around Spawn and everything. I was worried the effect that I wanted from the prank just wasn't going to be the same. But honestly, I think I was excited about the fact that you were just like, this is amazing, everybody's here. Like,
it looks great.
Yeah.
I was going to have to do something with that area anyway, so that's a perfect use for it. So there's no reason to take that stuff down. I might actually, add on to it and, spice it up a little bit more. But yeah, keeping it the way it is great.
That's fantastic.
And now I don't have to hunt for the zombie villagers to turn into villagers. I can just man my stands and stuff with you guys.
Man.
We pointed out that, I don't know if you had a horse, but we couldn't find one anywhere.
I thought that I did, but I don't think I did.
Okay, well, we pointed
sense.
out that you can now ride one of the members of the VBFS server.
Yeah, I know which horse is going to be the one that I'm going to be riding.
And whipping.
Yep, exactly. Until I accidentally, jump in a lava or down a ravine or something.
And then you have Dragon of Anger as backup.
Exactly.
Yep, there you go. Well, what was really funny about us setting up this prank is we did it, I guess, the Friday before PAX. So, the PAX East started on a Friday. It was a week prior to that Friday, I think, that we did this setup.
Yeah.
And so we had, our episodes edited and ready to go and everything. And then we're coming around to PAX, and we're like, okay, because I put the episode title in or episode number in as a title text in the video. So if I change that, I re-render it. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to render it out as if it's my next VBFS episode. I'm going to put it up private. In case Munchmo gets a reaction up while we're at PAX, I can just flip the switch on it, you know? And then, like, a month goes by after that.
Like, oh yeah, I forgot about this video.
before you finally found it. So, like, when I re-rendered it, it was, like, 5 episodes later, I think, than it would have been originally.
Yeah.
So that was pretty hilarious. I got a big kick out of that.
What was funny was, like, about a week after, I felt like that had been a long time. And I messaged Munchmo. I'm like, hey, I was just wondering, how often do you record episodes on the Vintage Beef fan server? And he's like, well, I'm kind of into Attack of the B Team right now, but I should be getting back on there pretty soon to record an episode.
More weeks pass.
Yeah.
Drew and I rock back and forth nervously in our chairs.
I'll have to remember that. I remember that too. I now that I think about it, I guess that was very foreshadowing. If only I had thought about signing on to look into it.
Oh man, that's funny. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. Okay, well...
I should have taken the hint.
Yeah. Well, we're coming towards the end of the podcast. We do have kind of a set of questions from one person. Slash, I forget, do you read the questions or does Snow usually?
Snow usually reads the questions, but in our absence of Snow, I will go ahead and fulfill that role.
Okay.
Well, I can do it if you want, since I'm the guy who's replacing Snow, it seems.
Well, would you like to read the questions? That'd be fine by me.
Hey guys, I have a few similar but separate questions for you. First, who's your favorite superhero? Let's start with you, Slash.
My favorite superhero... I'm gonna go with Spider-Man, because Spider-Man's been my favorite for the longest. But I've been enjoying like Iron Man and some of the other ones in the Avengers recently. But I'll stick with Spider-Man for my answer.
Okay, alright. And Drew, who is your favorite superhero?
Do X-Men count as superheroes?
Yeah,
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then, yeah, I would go with Nightcrawler.
Ooh, Nightcrawler. He's a good one.
That's a good one.
I love the whole teleport ability. He was my favorite one to play in Ultimate Alliance, and I liked him in the movies too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now for me, I it's a hard choice for me personally. I'm gonna say Arrow, the Green Arrow, just because I've been watching a lot of Arrow lately, and I've been enjoying the TV show. But you know, a lot of the superheroes they're very entertaining out there.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
So second, this time we're gonna start with Drew. If you could have superpowers, what would they be? And would you use them for your own good or the greater good?
Well, I know I've always liked these three abilities, so I'm not sure exactly which one I would pick. I love invisibility, I love shape-shifting, and I love teleportation. So I love stuff that you can kind of use for stealth. And I don't know, all three of those are like really awesome abilities. Well, I guess it says superpowers plural. So
yeah, it does say plural, so you can choose anything, it seems.
Probably I would go with invisibility and invisibility and flight. Actually, those make a pretty good combination.
Okay, all right. And what would you call yourself?
Probably Drusen of the 43.
That's acceptable, I guess.
Man, that would not exactly roll off the tongues of the populace.
See, but the whole reason I like the stealth superhero combat is because you don't have to be some public figure. You can be like a vigilante in the shadows type thing.
Yeah, that is true. But would you be a vigilante? Would you help people, or would you be like a supervillain?
Yeah, I would definitely be. I would be a vigilante type where I'd help people, but I wouldn't be out in public kind of thing. I'd be just kind of like, don't tell anyone.
All right.
So.
And what about you, Slash? What would your powers be?
I'm gonna go ahead and say that I would essentially be a Jedi. Because the nice thing about the Force is that it can do whatever you feel like it should do.
That's true.
You know, like in the very first Star Wars movie, in A New Hope, the Force was just sort of like this vaguely mystical thing. The most concrete thing you see it do is when Vader is choking the guy in the board meeting, you know. But otherwise, it's just sort of like out there, and it kind of gives you advice or guides your actions, and it's not something that they used actively at all. And, you know, and then it sort of mutated as like, okay, well, now telekinesis is part of it, you know, and now we can do this and that, and there's like telepathy or empathy, you know, that's built into it. So, and then like in the expanded universe, that kept going and going. So basically, the Force can do all things. So I think that would be the power that I would pick, because I could eventually, even if I started out not knowing anything more than the basic stuff, I could learn how to manipulate the Force for other purposes beyond the typical.
So it's almost like a Green Lantern's ring type thing, because he can
a little bit like that, yeah. It's saying whatever my mind can unlock.
Would you use it for good or evil?
I would like.
Would you choose the dark side?
I would like to think that I'd use it for good. But until I was actually possessed of such powers, I don't know that I would be able to necessarily make that prediction, because they say power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So
they do.
You know, as much of a moral and upstanding guy as I find myself now, I'm also enough of a realist to understand that as a human being with that level of power, there's entirely the chance that I would turn to my evil ways. But like any good villain, I would think that I'd be doing the right thing. I would still think I was on the side of good. It would just be my interpretation of good, as opposed to the general populace's interpretation of it.
Yeah. Okay. And what would you call yourself?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think I would probably just advertise myself as Slash. Yeah. Okay. I think I would probably just advertise myself as that. It's already my alter ego, so I might as well keep it.
Yeah, that whole naming things isn't great for people who already have extra nicknames around. You know?
Yeah, exactly. What about you, Munchmo? What would your superpowers be?
I would totally go for the invisibility. I think I could dig the speed too, but one power that always intrigued me was the ability to turn back time, even if only for a short amount of time, like 15 seconds to a minute or something. Mm-hmm. That could have such powerful repercussions and such good use.
Like a Prince of Persia kind of thing.
Sort of, yeah. I mean, the idea I'm coming off of is, Misfits, the British show.
Oh, okay. I've seen a little bit of that.
Yeah, the first couple of seasons, there was a character whose power was he could turn back time a little bit. Like, I think at one point he's actually able to turn it back really far, but he's able, you know, for the most part, it's like 30 seconds, maybe a minute or something like that. And I think that would be really handy to have. And I would totally be selfish with my powers. I mean, I'd go around beating up bad guys and stuff, but yeah, I'd use them for my own good. But yeah, I'd totally be one of those guys.
And what would you call yourself?
Oh, God. I wouldn't. I'd let other people come up with the name for me. Based on what my deeds are.
That's a good strategy. Yeah.
I just...
Because it's too hard.
Yeah. I want to mention one thing, that while I like the power of invisibility and those other kind of stealthy abilities I mentioned, if I was ever to fight Slash the supervillain, I would want my power, which he's probably going to be the only one who gets this, but I would want my power to be the ability to form concrete walls in front of me.
I definitely don't get that.
I think we've talked about this in a previous podcast episode. Drew had come out to my house. We did some gaming IRL. At one point, we tried out on the PlayStation. They had a Super Smash Brothers inspired thing that they called All-Star Battle Royale, which they took a bunch of iconic PlayStation game characters and threw them into a game, just like Super Smash Brothers does with Nintendo stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And there was Drake?
Nathan Drake, yep, from Uncharted.
Nathan Drake has
one of his abilities is he just makes a concrete barrier appear and just crouches down behind it, and that thing is literally indestructible.
It's like nice. It's like the cattle chutes that you find on the highway when they're doing construction, and he moves this thing around with the greatest of ease, right? When you normally need a forklift to lift one of them.
Well,
he's flinging it around like crazy, and you can throw anything at it. Bombs, electricity blasts and stuff. And as long as he's crouching behind that, it just poofs harmlessly off the barrier and does no damage to it.
My favorite part, there have been two really funny moments. One is where you'll be charging at me, I get down behind it, and you just hit the wall and harmlessly, like, you stop moving or whatever. And then I just stand up and whack you with the butt of my gun.
Yeah.
The other thing is when you're trying to, like, throw grenades or something over the top, and you keep, like, either throwing them too far or too short. One time, you'll finally get it in the right place, and I'll just jump over the barrier, so I'll be on the other side of it. And then I'm fine again.
I also particularly enjoyed the moment that you pulled this barrier up right on the edge of a platform.
Yeah.
And when you jumped over it, because you were already at the edge, David Drake jumps up and shoves the barrier to the side so that he can fit on the other side of it without falling off the platform.
Yep.
That was pretty hilarious, too.
Yeah. So that would be my ability. And, I guess we should mention those questions were submitted by A Million Monkeys.
A Million Monkeys! Wow.
There you go.
Were they all typing together at once to finally come up with a... Never mind.
Apparently, yes.
Well,
they took a break from working on the collective works of Shakespeare to write into our podcast, and we appreciate that.
Excellent.
I salute all 1 million of you.
Next question comes from 1,000,001 Monkeys.
that is the end of our podcast. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you, Munchmo, for coming on as a guest. Would you like to let the people know where they should find you on the internet or other, like various social media, etc.?
Well, you're looking for me, you look for Munchmo. I'm Munchmo everywhere, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, or
Twitch,
YouTube, or any of those things. Mm-hmm. It's just Munchmo.
There you go. So we'll have a link to some of the more prominent places the Munchmo is at, YouTube, etc., down in the description. Make sure you check him out. And until we see you next time, thanks for listening. Have a good one.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.